So again, push square, PlayStation Cell is back with an article. Physical game fans won't like this new data about USPFF. So this article is mostly about Matt Piscatella's more recent tweets. So Matt Pis has been again deployed by PlayStation for the Pro Max selling of its poor decision. Sarkana analyst Matt Piscatella got roasted this week for sharing legit US sales data about the state of physical games. So he got rightfully roasted because he was selling for the billion-dollar corporation rather than advocating for customers' right to have game discs. And again, just the US sales data. So again, the data doesn't include other regions. And this decision is being made for the entire world. So making a decision for the entire world just on the basis of the US situation is quite stupid. That's a terrible example of cultural appropriation. So it has no comparison point. Here are the number of physical PlayStation games that sold at least 100k units in the US during the year's calendar year first half. Calendar first half going back to 2003. So from 2003 till 2026. So for all these years, only the data of the first 6 months has been included. So the data for all these years, this doesn't include the second half. And at times in the second half of the year, uh, more game number of games are released in the second half of those in the second half of any year. So in these all these years, it's possible that more games were released for the second half. So here is another example of data fabrication to show PlayStation in a favorable light. And this is further coped by Matt Piss. The timing of the measurement matters too. So sure, I can't disclose your PlayStation here. So I hope the total market look for the 12-month period ending June. Also going back to 2023 will suffice. 12 months ending June. Again, this is more data from 2023 to 2026, but it's for the year ending on June. So the year starts from July and ends on June. So again, this data is still omits that more number of games might be released from July till December, and that usually happens because that's at least true for the current year. Because up till now for 2026, only few great games have been released, and those games had a physical option as well: RE9, Pragmata, Crimson Desert, etc. And all these games have sold really well on discs. And many gamers preferred a disc version for these games rather than the digital option. And again, both these statistics cover US data only. So what about the other regions? If other regions will also be included in these data, so that will reveal a more clear picture that what's the situation of physical versus digital sales. And for current year, more number of hyped games will be released from August till December, sorry. I'm going to show you. So let's start seeing from August because we are almost done with July. Beast of Reincarnation, and I think so. Shuhei Yoshida is involved in this game in some capacity, so he's promoting this game a lot. So it might and seems like really good. Uh, Hell Let Loose, Vietnam, Dusk Fade, Madden, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. This includes a Metal Gear Solid 4, Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy, Star Wars Zero Company, The Blood of Dawn Walker, Onimusha Way of the Sword, Valheim. And by the way, the Blood of Dawn Walker developers, Rebel Moon, has assured customers that the disc will include entire game, or they might release a multiple discs so that the complete game gets included in the disc version. Onimusha Way of the Sword, Valheim, Wolverine, Fire Emblem, Trails in the Sky, Control Resonant, Silent Hill Townfall. For October, Rayman Legends Retold, Ace Combat 8, Gears of War E-Day, Kingdom Hearts Collection, Castlevania, Final Fantasy Resonance, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Phantom Blade Zero. And though Call of Duty discs have a problem that less game is on the disc, and more data has to be downloaded from the internet. So internet is required to play these games. But still, at least in my country, more number of people buy disc version of these Call of Duty games because They usually rent these games. So after beating the campaign and trying multiplayer for a few days, they they return the game to to the game shop and get their security deposit back. And another thing is that even those who buy these games, they buy a disc version so that they can lend it to their friends, family, and people from the social circle, etc. And later, they can sell that disc version and can use the money and add a few more bucks to it to buy another new game. And in case if ID gets banned, so still disc version is less able because you can still download the game by creating another account. Phantom Blade Zero, one of the most hyped games of PlayStation. And on November, Grand Theft Auto 6, Godzilla, and Dragon Quest Monsters on December. So you guys can see that only few notable or hyped games have been released so far till July. And a great number of games will be released next year in 2027, and more number of great games, all the hype games. They will be released from August till December. And Halo campaign evolved is a recent release. And I can say for sure that the disc version will sell much more than the digital version. And even Stellar Blade Switch 2 version. No date has been confirmed as such, but it will be released in 2026. And I can say for sure, even if it's released on the game key card format, physical version is going to sell much more than the digital version on the Nintendo eShop. And besides Matt Piss, another asshole has come to PlayStation's decision defense. Yves Gilmore. The end of PlayStation this won't disturb the industry. It's not that bad. It's a bold push for an all digital future, and it was met with uproar. Cutting out of this in the PC gaming space, that was a paradigm shift that occurred many years ago, and it's now the stock extended approach for all PC gamers worldwide. What we saw on PC is that it helped to grow the market. So in PC, there are multiple storefronts. So still competition exists, and great prices are offered on the PC digital storefronts due to competition. That will not be the case with PS Store. There will be only one place PS Store, and it will cause massive exploitation of customers. There's also some pressure for the future on the cost of the machines, and being able to be only digital will only help to have a more accessible machine. Even currently, the difference between digital and the disc version of PS5 is not too much, and still the digital version is quite expensive due to price hikes. So it will not be that digital version will be much cheaper than the disc version. And in one of my earlier videos, I've already discussed that what sort of cost should these companies consider bringing down rather than punishing customers for their own fucked up decisions. Machines more accessible. So if we see the situation of its own company, so the price used to be considerably high. So it used to be around $60. Now it's just raising at 4.82. So instead of giving these controversial statements, he should worry about his own sinking ship, which is Ubisoft, and which he self detonated himself by making decisions that pissed off customers or gamers in order to attract more DI and ESG money for executives like themselves. And another hilarious thing is that Ubisoft is much more sinister than PlayStation and Xbox because this Yves Gilmore moron, he is the great grandfather of the all digital future. So even before PlayStation and Xbox, he's having wet dreams of an all digital future. Ubisoft exec says gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games for subscriptions to take off. So in order to push their shitty subscriptions, Ubisoft Plus, which is not as successful as they hoped it to be. Ubisoft was the first one to do all digital future experiments. So, and early to it delisted a game crew, and even those gamers who bought the disc version of this game, they could not play it because the even the single player of this game requires online functionality. So obviously, no one is expecting company to keep servers alive for eternity. But what they could have done is that they have released an update which could have allowed players to access the offline mode, or to at least they could have the ability to play single player mode offline. And and actually, I will be releasing a Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, a remastered disc test video that how much game is on the disc, in which I'm going to show that how EA actually did this better. That online is internet is only required for multiplayer, but you can entirely play the single player career mode without being connected to the internet. So even if the servers for that game get shut down after a few years, we can still play the offline version of the game. And actually, preservation of that matters. And the shutting down of crew that actually led to the movement stop killing games. And Ubisoft was sued in court for this. And Ubisoft had an argument that customers only bought a limited access to the game, not full ownership. Customer paid full price for this game. If it had been a free live service game, then such argument might have made sense. So the Crew Motorfest, it released on September 2023, uh, and just after 1 month, it was 20% off. So this shows how success the game was. Probably it was a failure. And by the way, I tried its 5 hour demo, and believe me, it was so atrocious, boring. The driving mechanics were not good at all. And I've played a lot of racing games, so I know what I'm talking about. So even I didn't complete the 5 hours. I just gave up in 1.5 hour, and then I deleted the free trial of the game. And that single player mode that also required connecting to the internet, making a Ubisoft account. So even accessing that demo, that was annoying as fuck. So an Avatar, it's also 40% off of Steam, and it discontinued X Defiant. As a result, the game is too far away from reaching the results required to enable further significant investment, and we are announcing that we'll be sunsetting it. So far, you guys can see that all the recent releases of Ubisoft games are massive failures. These games and Star Wars Outlaws, Skull and Bones was a massive failure, and it was termed as a quadruple game. And its budget is slightly less than GTA 6. It's rumored to have cost around 7 to 800 million dollars, because around 11 years, 11 because it was in development hell for around 11 years. Assassin's Creed Shadows was a failure. Avatars is a failure, and the recently released Assassin's Creed Black Flag Racing, that's success to an extent. So for all the games which were struggling, Ubisoft used number of players to portray these games as successes when they were in fact not. And when Assassin's Creed Black Flag Racing has done well, so now it's using units sold or copies sold. So instead of shilling for PlayStation, he should worry about his own company. So Piss has already proven to be wrong multiple times in the past. So he can cope as much as he wants and shell for the $1 billion PlayStation. And now he's not advocating for the customer's right to have a option of buying discs for games. Besides having the digital option of buying games from the PS Store. He has proven to be wrong multiple times in the past, and for now he can cope by sharing all this fabricated data. But in the future, if Sony doesn't change its decision, the backlash will be reflected in the sales of its first party titles. And by the way, sales of the first party PlayStation games, uh, they are already not good. I've shown that in one of my previous videos. And when PlayStation 6 will launch, so the sales of PS6 will also speak for itself. So then this video will be hilarious and more entertaining to watch. So, if PlayStation 6 will be a massive flop in the future.